Hello everyone, my name is Dajana Bjelajac and I will be your presenter for today. I come from Serbia, Novi Sad, and I am the president of NGO Carbon organization you may be heard about. And we deal with light pollution in our country. Besides NGO, I'm working at the Faculty of Sciences as a teaching assistant, currently writing my Ph.D. on the topic of light pollution and urbanization processes. But enough about me. My crew and I started talking about light pollution in Serbia from 2016. And before that, we had only one article about light pollution in Serbian language in National Geographic from 2008. And nothing else I'm aware of. So you can imagine how it was strange for people to hear about the group of students inviting everyone to go to a mountain nearby and walk in the dark with minimum light or no light at all. I bet many of them thought that we were some sort of new religious sect or something like that. So this speech is based on few advices on how to get people to talk about light pollution and what our experiences taught us. So how did we manage to educate people about light pollution? Let me name a few strange professions besides regular ones. We were hole drillers. Is that the word? We were educators in a tent. We were musicians, why not? When you promise people starry skies and then clouds appear, you have to entertain them somehow. So we were climbers on a strange things, also known as photographers, because people like to see their photos in the events you organize. And as the last but not the least, promoters/educators. Well, how do you become a good promoter and educator, which is most important actually? First of all, by thoroughly exploring and then writing about the subject. Light pollution is a highly interdisciplinary topic, and it's easy to overcomplicate the explanation of it. So I recommend writing a preview article for some student conference, if you're a student, or writing a blog. So basically, that's the best practice to learn how to simplify the problem of light pollution, so everyone can understand it. And the better your knowledge about the subject is, the better you are at explaining it. For example, in 2016, when I heard about light pollution during some summer school for geographers, I decided to write an article about it so I can learn more about the subject. And anyone who has ever tried to write a scientific paper knows that one can only be done after reading thousands of papers and articles from eminent scientists around the world. Also, this was the first ever scientific paper about light pollution presented in Serbia, and it was called Light Pollution and Potentially Affected Area in Vojvodina region, because we have a lot of protected areas in Vojvodina. After you learned enough, it is time to preach. I could say teach as well, it is more appropriate, but I firmly believe that in order to make people listen to you, you have to be some sort of a preacher, a science preacher perhaps. The main idea is to communicate science properly, to present facts and data, but you have to be in love with the subject. You yourself have to be invested like 100% in the subject. So this is the first workshop in Serbia entirely based on light pollution of the environment, and my colleagues and I were in a student organization of geographers and young researchers, and people's response to it were very interesting, ranging from this is obvious, it is a really big problem, to light pollution and what more are they going to invent to the pollution, you know. So this talk was given as an intro to a workshop at the Researchers' Night, we haven't stopped it, Science Fair, in 2018, and it was based on history of lightning and our perception of darkness. Naturally, I had to do a lot of research on the subject, but it proves that you should constantly broaden your knowledge in order to reach more people with different interests. For researchers' night, we had 3 boxes because we couldn't turn off the light in the entire mall where festival was held. So we made dark boxes which explained lighting fixtures, public lighting, and natural scenery. So for example, this is how we explain what is right and what is wrong in public lighting. On the left street, you can see unshielded white LEDs, which we usually have the opportunity to see in Serbia. And on the right part of the street are fully shielded 2,700 Ks. This workshop has been a mutual project of physicists and geographers, and that's where the idea of founding our NGO has started, actually, through enjoyable drilling, painting, and inhaling of stinky paint smells. Now, we have 2 projects called Ecological Supernova, founded by the Center for Science Promotion, and the main activities are based on lectures in more than 30 schools all over the Serbia. We would do more, but we physically can't. But we have 1,500 brochures about light pollution, which are going to be sent to every elementary and high school we can reach. And they look like this. And they are quite interesting with nice illustrations. It is also important to mention that some of the material was provided by Dark Skies for All global project, and we included it in our project. So you can see our astrophysicist Marina in search for darkness in a classroom where we had no darkness at all. So in this particular school, we had to improvise and put school tables all around Marina, and kids were delighted to see their classroom in this state. This photo can be used as a real example of preaching light pollution, because I'm in the middle of city, standing on the trash can, so everyone can hear me, and yelling to 100 people about light pollution and the events they came to visit. I wouldn't recommend. I'm hoping I won't have to yell like that anymore, but it was fun. Next step is to be original. According to a recent survey, people wouldn't mind if more than 80% of the world's brand ceased to exist. But they would care about a few ones that mean something to them. You have to leave a mark. Either as individual or organization, people need to feel as though they are a part of a larger cause, and this is where brand activism takes part. There's so many movements these days, and it's really hard to compete for the people's attention alongside with the usual brands, other social events and organizations, and so on. You have to be original when presenting your story, and you need to make a larger picture of your ideas and goals. These goals shouldn't be generic and short-term. We always say that the main idea behind our NGO is to promote health and natural darkness, but through specific goals. For example, this is a screenshot of our website where we listed few long-term goals, and one of them is to kickstart light pollution law in Serbia. But we call this action, it's hard to translate it in English, but it's something like bring back the stars to our kids. So people don't get bored by words law and pollution, but rather interested why kids lack stars. You also have to pay attention to visual details. In the era of social media and internet, you have to stand out with quality design that tells a story. For example, we took gray, white, and yellow colors, and we always put them everywhere, on our t-shirts, on our logo, on any design we make. You also need one decent phone or camera to make really nice shots of your events and people in them. So after a while, people will quickly recognize your photos and design among numerous content on social networks and follow up on your activities more easily and they won't have to spend so much time searching for you. Also, it is really important to stay true to yourself, not to be too original or to get too invested in being only original but not to present quality message. It's easy to get carried away with all the trending stuff on the internet, but you have to build integrity and to send clear message to your followers. We protect the night. This is our main goal, but we do it in our way. For example, in August last year, we didn't have enough money to organize an event in remote dark area during meteor shower, but we managed to organize a walk in the underground of the Petrovaradin fortress near Novi Sad. We use this underground as a metaphor, since this is the only place in wide perimeter of Novi Sad where you can really experience darkness, implicating that citizens of Novi Sad cannot experience meteor shower because there is no clear skies in the vicinity due to light pollution. And it's not our fault we don't have money to take them more remotely from Novi Sad. So we called it In Search for True Darkness. Dark-related guests. Since we don't have a wide range of speakers about light pollution besides ourselves, we invite guests like Snežana Radojčić on the photo with a hat. And she's a female world cyclist, which is currently in South America. And she talked about the perils of the night for a cyclist and a woman and a backpacker like her. And there are almost none. She emphasized that most of the unpleasant events happened during the day and talked about wonderful starry night skies in Gobi Desert where she rode her bike. So even if we don't have specialists in this field, we invite like-minded people to promote us and spread awareness with their experiences with the darkness. We usually try to call people who had pleasant experiences with darkness. So also it is important to make contact only with like-minded societies. Do not make contact with people or organizations which are not in line with your values and your goals. Some political parties and companies have offered us money to organize events more easily, but they weren't environmentally conscious enough for us. So instead we became friends with so-called eco-couriers, which deliver goods on their bikes and invest money into planting trees. And they helped us organize night biking through the city while explaining how each of murals was painted and what is their meaning. So it was not a glamorous big event, but people recognize the value of it. And they appreciate we don't take money from not so good companies. Let's call it like that. As for the scientific popular lectures, I think everyone knows that people and kids these days are not going to come to some lecture just because it is useful for their education. It has to be provocative or different from the generic form. Therefore, we invited biologists, psychologists, and astronomers to our festival to gather around campfires, like one you see on the picture, and while roasting marshmallows to talk with people in person about their interests in dark skies and dark skies in general, light pollution in general. It was much more intimate contact for them in a pleasant surroundings, and people had a very nice response to it. Problems? Yeah, we had them a lot. Not everything is perfect as it may seem, but more often than not, NGOs do not possess basic skills or equipment for the idea they have, only the wish to make it happen. So since you voluntarily decided to spend your time in NGO, you better learn new skills. And what we learned, we became designers. We don't have official designer. Two of us work in Adobe Illustrator, which we learned by YouTube tutorials, and the rest are commenting and providing us with the ideas or some sort of a feedback, what is good and what is not. So this logo we made ourselves, and we always stick to these colors and this meaning behind this logo. I hope everyone noticed that Carpe Diem is seize the night and Carpe Noctem is Sorry. Carpe diem is seize the day, and carpe noctem is seize the night. We also became event organizers. And we had to spend hours just Googling about the best festivals, ecological solutions for waste after festivals, and other event-related details. So this is one of our events for the scientific popular lecture in city in the northern part of Vojvodina region. And we really Googled how to successfully manage social medias. And from there, we made few notes about stuff we should implement. And now we even have our calendar for Facebook and Instagram and plan our blogs a few weeks away. So we have more outsourced than we had in the beginning, and really try to be present on medias. We also became movie makers and interior designers. After COVID-19 has emerged, we had to cancel all our events in 2020. So naturally, we were worried that everyone will forget about us and that we would have to start all over. And then we realized that people are listening to podcasts more than ever now. And we decided to make a podcast about fear of darkness with psychologist Snežana Tovilović on the left. And we played this podcast for Halloween. So you can see the decoration. And this was some sort of marketing idea or trick. As last, I would like to say that you should enjoy the process. If you're running NGO or building a career as a science communicator besides your regular job, it can be really tough. So even though there are many obstacles and hardships to pull out all the ideas you have, I firmly believe that most of us enjoy every moment of it. You gain valuable lessons, you boost your creativity, and make meaningful changes. So for the end, I would like to show you a few photos of pure joy, or I feel, when I look back at our work. So this is Astro Hike number 3. And 300 people went 15 kilometers through the dark woods, and the loudest of them were few elderly people in front. You can see them here. It's priceless. It was hilarious. Our first festival and most wonderful surrounding before we went for the hike, and the storm hit us in the middle of forest with more than 300 people. Fortunately, everyone got back to this place and happy they experienced such an adventure, but I think I have a few gray hairs from this. And this is one more shot of festival and warming up before the camping with scientists. Our last picture from 2019, we celebrated our achievements and gave our thanks to all the people that helped us. So we started with 30 members and finished our year with more than 100. We organized one festival, 2 Astro Hikes, gathered more than 1,000 people during the dark in the forest. We gave more than 15 public lectures, not to mention schools, and made appearances on numerous television channels, newspapers, and blogs. So I think it was worthwhile. And now people in Serbia have more than one magazine about light pollution. Besides this one, we have this one, and a lot of more content on our website and other medias we have contacted. So thank you very much, and welcome to the dark skies. We have stars, and we will have them, I hope so, in Serbia in the long term. Thank you.